And now you know the rest of the story.
Well, we're up at Richie's in Cobb, and seeing a bunch of interesting equipment to look at. I know it might be the wrong color, but honestly, if it does its job, it does its job. And seems so we have a lot of manure to haul. I can't help but look at the nice little spreader they got here. It's a Manure Crop Max, which you guys can't tell, it's about shoulder height on me. I've never really been that close to these. This is the first time I've actually seen one of these bigger spreaders. But as you can tell, I'm really a fan of the vertical beater style spreaders. We've ran one before. I liked it a lot. It did a great job of spreading out a nice even spread pattern of manure. And maybe the 82 could run this. I don't really know as far as the weight, if I'd really trust it in that way. But looks like you can move the axles along the frame here. Looks like everything's been greased up very well. Has brakes on it, which for a machine like this you'd need it. Plus with the higher flotation tires on it, or the bigger flotation tires on it, oh, it's an HFX 3000. At least I'm assuming that's what the number is. The only thing I don't like about it, and for a spreader this big, I understand that it has to have it, but it's got the web design, the floor chain, and it looks like it's 3 separate webs, which it would really cut down the amount of stress on the chain. See, it's got 3 different webs. This design, as far as the roller chain type, it's got to be a lot better than the one we have with it's the pressed steel. And imagine probably tried and true. It definitely built a lot heavier as far as the chain design goes. I still couldn't imagine actually breaking a chain on a machine like this. I mean, on top of that, just getting to it to work on it. But with a big machine like this, it does require big horsepower. I don't know. I haven't actually looked online or looked around on YouTube land, and actually seen many quad tracks. Of course, John Deere doesn't like calling them quad tracks either, track machines I should say, pulling bigger spreaders. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I've never really been close to these track machines. I mean, even as far as 4-wheel drives, I don't know if you guys actually see me there. 4-wheel drive machines or tractors like this, they're not very common in this area, in our area. We did see, I can't say that you don't see some of these red quad track machines around. There's here and there, if you know where to look, you can find them. They do provide a lot better flotation. Problem is that price tag is kind of a hard pill to swallow. I mean, our 8235 does a great job for what we do right now, but I have said I wouldn't mind really looking at doing looking into like a 4-wheel drive. A nicely used, low-houred 4-wheel drive articulated machine, I would go with wheeled, duals all the way around, wheeled with the row crop tires on it, not the big mudders or tiller flotation tires, but just set up like that for tillage. It would really open the door for us for a lot more of the implements I'd like to be using, because there's some tools, point in case, back that Scott sale back in 2018, there's that, what was it, a 11 shank Great Plains max chisel, and that would have maxed out our 8235 as far as being able to pull it, or pull it properly. So we say it a lot of the time on the channel and also down here, is horsepower is great. Yeah, nice little shot of the lot. Dad and Ryan are looking at skid steers again. I really haven't gotten in on that. It's mainly been Dad and Ryan, because I can voice my opinion, but in the end, Ryan's the one that's got to write the check. They do have some articulated wheeled machine over there. Now, this is where I'm going to sound like a little bit of a hypocrite. I mean, everybody does kind of choose their different implement types and that they like. I mean, I like John Deere. I mean, that's the brand I'm specific to. But don't get me wrong, there's some red equipment that would be really handy. I have actually thought that the red articulateds, like the, was it 405? I don't even remember the name on it or the number on it anymore. But the red four-wheel drive machines, I actually thought they looked kind of sharp. I mean, myself. The only problem is you got to worry about something that has the 3-point ability on it as far as the four-wheel drive goes, because you can get them bareback, where all it has is a drawbar and no PTO, and it's just a drawbar and hydraulics. But for something like this, that is a 3-point mounted machine, you can get a cart and still be able to pull something like this. So I don't know if you can find a better deal. It's not the end of the world. Typically you can set it up the way you want it. Now here's something that I really wouldn't mind getting ourselves someday, basically just because for the soybeans that we have and the ground, and particularly down at my place, even on our corn ground, going through and rolling, well, it's not so heavy I can't roll it over, but on our corn ground, like down at my place, going through and hitting it with a leveler or a roller, smoothing the ground all out, and that way when you're planting, you're not so much worried about knocking rocks around. I mean, granted, they'll be there, they'll be in the push down into the soil, but you also get a better seed placement too, because the planter's not bouncing around across uneven ground, even though that VT we have does do a nice job of working the ground up. But soybeans in particular, I've heard you can gain up to 5 bushels an acre by running a roller over your ground, because it allows you to run the bean head all the way down on the ground, right where it should be, and you're picking up all those soybeans that have grown right down to the bottom of the stem, because that's what soybeans do. Only problem is, I imagine this is something, I've never pulled a roller before. Maybe a single roller, but this is a dual roller. Something this size, I would imagine it's going to be a job for like the 82. I mean, it's not the end of the world, because typically by the time you're done planting, if you're following the corn planter and you're rolling the beans after you planted, the 82's typically done its job already as far as getting the seed bed prep. But I imagine these, you need a lot of weight on the tractor itself just to be able to hold the machine back, especially when you get on the rolling hills, because the whole point of this is to roll. So is anything else around here look interesting before I go? I gotta go inside too. Nothing that really stands out. I mean, there's combines. Everybody likes combines. Only problem is I don't really see me or really us getting a red combine. I know everybody would probably like to see that. Dad has mentioned it in the past, and somebody just brought it up again. Dad has said in a previous video about going to a red combine. I have nothing against them. And the long and the short of it, guys, I got nothing against red, green, blue, yellow equipment. I really don't care, as long as it does its job that we brought it home to do. The thing I've heard about red equipment is that the grain sample is really hard to beat. John Deere, so I'm not misquoting this, I want to say their grain sample is that much cleaner than a John Deere. It is much cleaner than a John Deere, but a John Deere will drive circles around it. So as far as the daily production, John Deere still has case beat. That's really not that big of a deal as far as the grain sample. This sounds kind of weird, but for what little bit you're getting docked on foreign material in your grain, at least in this area, as long as it's not like stupid noticeable that you have a bunch of stalks or whatever else in your grain sample, it really isn't that big of a deal. Production, as far as being able to cover more acres in a day, is really where John Deere wins out. I mean, we're at a 95-10, so we're really not high up there as far as daily production. But now that we got that semi, we're sitting pretty good as far as being able to get the grain gone. And I think what's going to turn into now is we're going to be focusing back on the combine situation as far as being able to keep up. Not keep up, but just to increase our crop harvest and really not lose productivity. So I don't know how many tons this spreader could hold, but about 2 good days of hauling with this, and I think we'd be pretty well set. And yes, I would say go ahead and put the quad track on it. I mean, 500 horse, the big float, quad tracks with the big floaters on the back of this. You'd probably get away with the ground just being a little soft yet, because that's exactly where we're at right now. We might be going home and hauling a little bit of manure, but yeah, see what the field looks like. So I gotta head inside before they're done talking with the parts guys. So thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in. I know, red equipment on the farm, or red equipment on the channel seems to get everybody excited. So until next time, take care, take it easy, keep in touch. I'll talk to you guys later.